All right, let me make sure my hair looks normal. My hair does not look normal. My hair looks weird. Actually blue. It's negative internal dialogue. Okay. Hey guys, it's Blue. Today is, what's today's date? Today is Saturday, August 3rd. This week has been so fast. I need to do this quickly. Anyways, as you can tell from the title of my video, I am doing this YouTube because my therapist is making me. Left to my own devices, I'm not sure I would ever do another YouTube video. I think I did one maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah, it's just not something I saw myself doing, but I've been pushed heavy-handedly to do it, so I'm finally gonna have my friends and family leave me alone, and my therapist. For those who are wondering why, right? So why is my therapist making me do a YouTube video? That is how do I explain this in a way that makes the most sense without like telling too much of my business? In a therapy session a couple of months ago, we were having a conversation about the idea of being too much. Now, this is a term that gets used all the time, right? If you have a friend who's really loud or boisterous or just out there, you tend to say things like, oh, she's too much, or oh, he's too much. And I've always had a really bad reaction to that terminology because I feel like, as someone who's a lover of words, I'm a writer for a living, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a professional writer. I write full time. It's like my whole career is based in writing. So words mean a lot to me, right? And I feel like when you're giving someone critique and you're saying you're too loud, as long as you're saying it with good intentions, that's valuable critique because the person knows, oh, I must not be hearing myself. Let me turn the volume down on my voice. It happens all the time. If you tell someone, hey, you're being a little bit too critical, then they know to maybe pull back and be more compassionate. If you tell someone, hey, you're being too naive, you need to be more aware of your surroundings, then they know to be more cognizant of their surroundings. But when you tell someone you're too much, there's nothing constructive about that. What are you telling them to do? Stop breathing? Like, it's a really dismissive, all-encompassing kind of critique that only seems to do damage and do harm and make people feel rejected without actually empowering them with like any kind of insight into like how to be better. And I'm putting better in air quotes because that's subjective, right? So growing up, I was surrounded by judgmental people. I'm Haitian Cuban, and anybody who knows about Latin Americans and West Indians, we tend to speak very harshly amongst ourselves and to children as well. Like, what could be considered verbal abuse in some cultures to us is just like a regular Tuesday. Even in the African American community, I think there's a bit of the same kind of like, you know, mocking, have fun. What do they call it? The dozens? People play the dozens all the time. It's all done in good fun. But sometimes I think when we play with language in a really harsh way, we unintentionally end up normalizing some really damaging dialogue. And one of those damaging phrases for me in my life has been, you're too much. Because whenever I'm being told I'm too much, it's never from someone who's being loving and saying, oh, you know, let me give Blue some constructive critique. It's someone who thinks I'm taking up too much attention, or who just doesn't like me as a person, or whose nerves are being grated. And rather than like be a good friend and tell me what exactly I'm doing to get on their nerves, they're just dismissing me. Or sometimes, let's be honest, it's just a hater, right? I've had a lot of people who were annoyed by my self-esteem tell me I'm too much, only for life to later reveal that they just weren't being enough for themselves. And so that everything that anybody did from a place of abundance was like destined to get on their nerves. Anyways, this idea of you're too much, you're too much, you're too much, for like the first 20 years of my life, I took it to heart. And I was constantly trying to shrink myself and like take up less attention and feeling bad about my big personality and the way that I show up in the world. And so when I showed up to therapy, I was almost like, yo, we're just here to talk about the fact that I'm grieving my aunt, right? Like, my aunt raised me. So when she died, it was like losing a mother. So I'm thinking I'm there to talk about grieving, and instead I'm being told that there was another dragon that I had to slay that I had never even thought of, and it was the fear of thinking that I was too much, right? Even though I walk through the world with my head held high, and I feel good about where I am in life, I still secretly harbor this internal dialogue of, ugh, Blue, don't be too much. You know you're a lot. Don't be too much. And me doing this YouTube is going to be my way of finally slaying that last dragon. So it's been March, April, May, June, July. It's been 4 or 5 months since the universe started sending me this message. And today I just woke up and I was like, I'm finally ready to start a YouTube. Anyways, I've been rambling. And I have to go. Oh God, they're already texting me. I knew it. I've been rambling. I have to go. But I can tell that this is going to be an interesting journey. I was actually at a YouTube event. One of my friends, her name is Amber from Amber's Closet. She's really sweet. And she invited a bunch of us to a YouTube event, YouTube Black event. And at the YouTube Black event, I was talking to her friend, Ari Fitz, who's another one of my favorite YouTubers.
Let's go.
I got
a lot of people talk out here, though.
So, I'm going to tell you, give Ari a shout out. So, Ari has a really, quirky, fun YouTube. You have, many YouTubes.
I have a lot of.
But I fell down a rabbit hole of you and Jade.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And ended up watching, 30.
Super time.
And mind you, all the YouTubers I know who I've met in person are amazing people. So I technically have no reason to think that this wouldn't be a good fit for me, right? Because I know all the people who already do it and they're already amazing people, which just shows you how fear works. Fear is so illogical. I'm scared of starting a YouTube, but yet I know all these amazing, really kind YouTubers. It makes no sense. So anyways, I'm talking to Ari outside of the event, and suddenly I mentioned to her, hey, you're all YouTubers. I'm thinking about taking the leap because my therapist is kind of forcing me to. Not forcing, because free will is still a thing, right? But my therapist is gently pushing me to start a YouTube, and so are my friends. And Ari looks at me and is like, you should totally do it, because when I first went to LA, starting my YouTube was actually therapeutic. And then she went on this whole really beautiful story about how cathartic it was and how much it helped her.
When I first moved to it's so therapeutic, and you work through your shit and you're like, why did I do? Oh wow, that's why I did that. And so I think that's what's helped me so much, because when I first moved to LA, you just need to talk to yourself. I just talk to myself all the time.
So I'm listening to Ari talk about how starting a YouTube has been such a great thing for her, and how it helped her get her footing in Los Angeles. And I just moved here myself 4 months ago. So I'm like, you know what? This makes sense now. This is something that I totally need to do. And then I met a bunch of other people who were about to start YouTubes as well. One of them, I think her name is Brittany. We've been messaging back and forth on Instagram. So we're supposed to meet up for lunch at the end of the month after I get back in town from some traveling.
Who you are and why you're doing the things that you're doing, because you've had that conversation with yourself, so no one can question you.
Yeah.
It's like you're a therapist.
Magic.
I love this.
It's so good.
This was kismet.
So yeah, this just feels like a good start for me. I do not want my YouTubes to just be me talking to the camera in my bedroom, because that's kind of boring. So I think I'm going to do maybe some story times. I'm going to start asking folks what kind of topics they want me to cover. On my Facebook page, people are constantly asking me about my views on politics and social justice issues. My column that I write for my job in digital media, it's a column called True Blue. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a video version of True Blue, where when I write a column about a subject, maybe I'll do a video to go with it. What else do I want to do on this channel? God, there's so much you can do in 6 months. And my thing is, I'm only supposed to do this for 6 months as an experiment. If I like it, I might do it longer. And if I don't, it's still a really cool kind of time capsule of this time in my life. So that's still going to be worth it. I keep on saying which means I'm running out of things to say, and I probably should stop. Oh, last but not least, I think I'm going to start vlogging as well, because this is my first year in LA. And LA is such a magical place. I know it gets a bad rap. It's a scary place. But I've been really, really lucky. I have met a lot of people out here, and only one of them was kind of suspect. The rest of them have been amazing. So whatever kind of juju I have going on in this town, it's working for me. So I might actually vlog some of my events from this weekend, so you can meet my cool friends and see all the awesome folks that I've been running into. I think that's it. Did I forget anything else? Why I'm starting a YouTube? No, I think that's it. This was cathartic. I'm probably gonna edit this down because I've never done this before, so I'm sure I was rambling. But if you got to this far in this video, please make sure to like the video, subscribe, maybe even share with a friend. You might have a friend who needs to start their own YouTube for therapeutic reasons, and maybe this will inspire them to do the same. I'm not doing this to become like, you know, the biggest YouTuber on the planet. I'm doing this because it fits the rule that I have for all engagement. Whenever I engage in anything in this world, the first thing I ask myself is, number one, what is my intention? And number two, is it mutually beneficial? For this endeavor, my intention is to prove to myself that I'm not too much. And is it mutually beneficial? Yeah, I think that while I'm proving that to myself, because of the kind of topics that I want to go over, I think some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about over the next couple of months will be things that will help people, or at the very least spark some really interesting and necessary dialogue. So as long as I've done that, I feel like I'm receiving something from doing this, and I'm also giving something back. So it just kind of makes sense. Anyways, it is now 4 o'clock and my friend's gonna be here in 10 minutes. I might vlog some of what I'm doing today. All right guys, I gotta go. Bye. Next video is all about our weekend of fellowship that somehow ended like this.
I'll come say to me, baby.
Oh, yes.
How you want me, baby?
I just want to be your man. Wait.
I just wanna be your man. How does it feel?
Yes.
How does it feel? How does it feel?
Yes, Lord.
How does it